Hi there everybody, I hope you're doing very well today. In my last video, I did my best to create sort of a beginner's guide to Pokémon Overlord. If you don't know what this game is, I'd recommend watching that one first, but this video is for anyone who's done with the basics and wants the juicy stuff. Today, we're diving into the seedy underbelly of Pokémon Overlord to talk about all of the secrets and glitches I found during my time playing this game. I think the best way to start is just to tackle the major overarching mystery at hand and what I consider the true ending of the game. In a normal run of Pokémon Overlord, your goal is to defeat the champion, but your run doesn't have to end there. Observant players might notice that after you beat the champion, this NPC who normally blocks the right hallway is just standing out here in the lobby. Exploring the now open hallway leads us to an office where we get jumped by none other than Professor Oak, the second final boss of the game, wielding the 3 legendary birds. Defeating Oak causes him to fade away into the ether, leaving his PC completely unguarded for us to turn off. And when we do, we're met with this. This is Mewtwo, the true final boss of Pokémon Overlord, meant to be the voice of the developer, Jab Lao. Upon starting the battle, Mewtwo will copy your Pokémon and use them against you in a mirrored pattern. Now at first glance, this might not seem too bad, but it's almost impossible to win against Mewtwo in a mirror match like this. Unless your team is very specifically crafted to adapt to it, you're going to lose. You're kind of supposed to lose, because we're missing the key to the puzzle. There are a number of scripted events that can occur randomly in Pokémon Overlord, but we're on the lookout for one in particular. On some occasions, you'll see a Team Rocket grunt sitting by the staircase. If you walk down the left hall, you'll be robbed and kidnapped by the 2 grunts and brought to their boss, Giovanni, who asks you to obtain a letter in exchange for returning your wallet. After accepting this quest, the right hall will be unblocked. The game prevents you from accessing Professor Oak's office at this point, but the letter that Giovanni is looking for is right up here. Upon returning to him, you'll be prompted to either hand the letter over or refuse and fight 2 Team Rocket grunts. We need what's in that letter, so we'll have to battle for it. And once we win, we not only get access to the letter, but the other item that was sitting in the corner of the room. As it turns out, these 2 items are both halves of a password that can be used on this door. The password is Wish. And here we are. Pokémon Red 1996. That ship is the SS Anne, but we're more interested in this little truck over here. For those of you who don't know, this truck was the subject of one of the first Pokémon urban legends. The story goes that if you went to this truck and used strength on it, you'd be met with the legendary Pokémon Mew, which was the only Pokémon that couldn't be obtained in the first generation outside of special event distributions. So somehow the myth came about that Mew was hiding under this truck. People just wanted to believe it was possible. I guess you could say it was nothing more than a wish. Mew is our key to defeating Mewtwo. Your only 2 options here are to run or to throw a Pokeball. Running does exactly what you'd think. The encounter ends and you don't get a second shot at it. Luckily, our Pokeballs are always guaranteed to catch Mew, so no need to worry. Now your goal is to make it back to Mewtwo again. This means beating the champion, beating Professor Oak, and finally challenging Mewtwo. Only this time, things go a little differently. Mew is able to repel Mewtwo's attempts to copy our team, meaning all you have to do is defeat Mewtwo himself. Luckily for us, Mew learns a little move called Transform. Once the transformation is pulled off, you're pretty much guaranteed victory with good play. And with that, you're given the secret game mode, Mewtwo mode. In Mewtwo mode, you don't have your own team. Instead, in every battle, you get a copy of the opponent's team, sometimes with lowered levels. This is without a doubt the toughest game mode in Pokémon Overlord. You can't rely on the innate strength of your team because your team is the exact same as your opponent's. Battles can only be won through smart placement, smart play, and game knowledge. You can't access the final Mewtwo fight in Mewtwo mode because you are Mewtwo, but if you manage to defeat the champion, you get this big ol' sticker on your collection screen. Two little notes before we move on. Firstly, the wish password can be entered whether you have the keys or not. If you really want to, you can start a run, immediately go catch Mew, and either add it to your team or sell it for 125 Pokédollars. And secondly, you can catch Mew in Mewtwo mode, but it's removed from your party whenever you start a battle. Now we'll talk about the crossover characters in Pokemon Overlord. You'll notice 3 characters that show up in the hotel who don't really seem to belong. Firstly, Wes, the protagonist from Pokemon Colosseum. As far as I know, Wes is the only character in the game who comes only from a spin-off Pokemon game, as opposed to a main series game. But there are 2 other characters who come from outside the realm of Pokemon entirely. First is Yugi, the protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh!, who can sometimes be found and battled in the card shop. Second is Demi-Fiend, the protagonist of Shin Megami Tensei 3. To find Demi-Fiend, you'll have to obtain the cursed key from Morty here, and use it on this door upstairs. Once inside, you'll light a mysterious menorah and find yourself face to face with Demi-Fiend in some weird cave. You can tell I don't know Shin Megami Tensei lore. What's cool is that you can play as any of these characters in League Challenge mode as well. Wes comes with his Espeon and Umbreon, Yugi comes with some iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards, while Demi-Fiend has 3 of his own... demons, I guess? You can tell I still don't know Shin Megami Tensei lore. But on the topic of Demi-Fiend, if you enter the room with the menorah and immediately walk downwards, you'll walk straight out of bounds. It's a little tough to navigate out of bounds, but after doing some exploring, I found the Team Rocket room, the main hotel area, Demi-Fiend's weird cave. I even found the area where you can catch Mew. I also found this little area, which seems to be Cinnabar Island from Generation 1. I've never come across this in normal gameplay, so I don't know if I'm just not aware of how to reach it, or if this is unfinished content planned for the future. No Pokemon game would be complete without shiny Pokemon. I'm not sure how many shinies are in Pokemon Overlord, but all I can do is show the ones that I've seen with my own eyes. Arbok, Nidoking, Machamp, Meganium, Azumarill, Sharpedo, Flygon, Absol, Metagross, and of course, the classic Red Gyarados. I'm also not sure what the odds are of any random shop Pokemon being shiny. My rough guess, just based on my own experience, is somewhere in the area of 1 in 200. Now, unlike your typical Pokemon game, in Pokemon Overlord, shinies are actually stronger than their non-shiny counterparts. All the ones that I've seen so far are rainbow rarity and have increased stats or a changed move pool, so they really feel like a reward when you get one. They often change their color as well, like Nidoking going from green to blue or Gyarados going from blue to red. You won't come across random shinies in League Challenge mode though, unless they're part of your trainer's pool of Pokemon, like Gold having access to a shiny Gyarados in his card shop. Now to close out this video, I just want to do some rapid fire small secrets and glitches. Ones that don't really fit into any other particular category. If you try entering the right hallway during the Grand Finals fight, you'll be blocked by a stampede of trainers who refuse to talk to you. Nuzleaf is the only Pokemon in the game with the Permadeath ability, which permanently removes it from your team if it dies in battle. This is a reference to Nuzlocke runs in which you have to release your Pokemon if they faint in battle. Nuzlocke is named after the Nuzlocke comic, which is in turn named after Nuzleaf. Slowking's ability Mind Games doesn't appear in any main series Pokemon game, but is instead a reference to this Slowking card, which was banned in the Pokemon TCG in 2002, due to its infamously strong power, Mind Games. You may also have noticed that Pachirisu has the unusual ability called Godslayer. This is a reference to Seijun Park's Pachirisu, which he used on his World Championship winning team in 2014. Pachirisu has the lowest base stat total of any Pokemon to ever be on a championship winning team. You can talk to trainers even when separated by an empty tile. This is intended to make it possible to talk to the shopkeepers behind their counters, but it also makes it possible to talk to trainers through walls, even from out of bounds. And finally, the move Rage Fist is supposed to get stronger if the Pokemon using it has been hit in battle. But I think the equation might be reversed in this game because Primate basically one-shots every Pokemon in the game when he's at full health. And that's about all I've got for you today. I know this video is sort of chaotic and disjointed, but I just didn't know how else to present all of these random little details. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just like last time, the link to Pokemon Overlord will be in the description for those who still haven't checked it out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.